Okay. Well, good morning. Happy May Day, everybody. The sun is shining at least. Hopefully the winds calm down a little bit, but looks like it's finally going to start warming up. So I am ready for it. So thanks everybody for joining us. We have some great guests today and would love to see your faces, and please interact, ask questions. Nikki with Kevnik Mortgage, she's going to be our resident lender today. And if you have any questions for her, make sure you ask. And then Elder will be our speaker today, and he is amazing with all things Google related. So he is going to bring his wealth of knowledge to us today. So let's get started. So Nikki, you have been busy.
Yes, very much so.
Yes. So thank you for being on. What's new? What's new in the mortgage world? What can you share with us?
Absolutely. So my camera's a little dark. I just got this new computer, so I got to figure out settings and stuff still. So this is my first official meeting on Zoom. So I'll figure that out for future meetings. But in the meantime, I am Nikki Erickson. I am now with the Kevnik Group at North Point Bank. So we have had some awesome changes with the Kevnik team and how we are doing lending now. So prior to this change, we were lending Fannie Freddie with a mortgage company called Axia. That's where we hung our license and got our funding for our loans from. Now we are connected with a bank called North Point Bank, which means that we are able to now lend in all 50 states. So help people transition in and out of Minnesota. Help people with different products. We have some what we call expanded portfolio products, which are going to help in majorly flexible lending capacities. We can now lend up to, $10, $11 million, whereas before our limit was 2 to 3. So we have some definite opportunity to help people. Multiple property lending up to 30 properties, things of that nature, which are really going to help in this market and really help our clients be able to have some flexible options. We have options for people who are not quite the minimum required amount of time outside of bankruptcy. We have people who are, we have programs for people who are not quite 7 years out of foreclosure for conventional lending and don't want to do FHA lending, things of that nature where we can really help and be flexible. Self-employed borrowers are a huge change for us. We had the ability to help, a lot of self-employed borrowers before, but now we have some expanded products which help our clients who are self-employed and have really complicated situations be able to still lend and help them. I actually got a call this weekend from a client who was looking at using hard money lending in replace of her conventional lending because she was a self-employed borrower with only 1 year in self-employment. And in speaking to her, she now owns her family business, things of that nature. We have availability so she doesn't have to use that hard money lending and doesn't have to take that high interest rate. And we can actually help her with her lending. So a lot of really exciting changes, a lot of expanded options for clients, and really just gives us powerful lending to help any and all clients. And then if you can kind of see right next to me, I do have a new team member, Lindsay.
I'm in the dark.
Yeah, she's in the dark. Like I said, I can't find the camera settings right now, but she is a new loan officer on our team as well. She comes to us, lives in Apple Valley, and then is going to be helping the Kevnik team, obviously, with our lending and our clients. And she is excited to get started and get moving. So more to come on, her and her background and things like that as we post videos to social media this week. So,
hello, everyone.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, well, this is exciting. Congrats on the big changes. I know that you've been working hard on that. So any changes in the world of rates, or what's that looking like? Because today's the day, May 1st.
Today is the day. Yes. So believe it or not, we talked about those heat map, those changes. Remember when I was talking to you guys about those before and how they were supposed to be implemented in May 1st? A lot of lenders, including us, have actually made the changes to those interest rates prior to May 1st, because the way that it works is we're looking at loans that are going to be sold into servicing, or their first payment is going to be May 1st or afterwards. So anything that would have closed in April, sometimes maybe some things in March, would have already had those new interest rate changes already implemented into the rates that the client saw, because they have to be able to have that new payment or that new servicing time start May 1st. So as far as interest rates go and changes to that market, we were already kind of seeing those changes 3 weeks ago. So those have already been kind of like baked into the rates for that we've been quoting customers, because we don't want to, what we didn't want to have happen is if I quoted somebody, on April 10th, then all of a sudden they get a purchase agreement at the end of April and they have to close in May. I didn't want there to have to be that jump in interest rate or that difference in interest rate from what we were quoting. So those have already been kind of like baked into what we've been quoting to clients as they close into the future. So yes, still going on, still, those new rates or whatever you guys have already seen and your clients have already seen. So as far as the market goes today, let me just take a quick look because I haven't had an opportunity to look yet. Hold on a second here. And of course, with all these new changes, all of my new apps have to be re-logged into. So we'll see if we can log into this quick. In fact,
yeah, I know, making those changes, it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how many things I need to change.
I know. But we're working through it. We spent some time in Colorado this last week, getting used to the new systems and things like that. So it was a very productive week. So, okay, so here we go. I can't believe I remembered the password for that, you guys. Like, that's impressive. Great. So we got our handy little map here.
Okay.
And just a reminder to everyone, if you look on this map, the further down we go on the map, the lower the interest rates, the higher up we go. Wait, hold on.
Reverse.
I'm sorry, reverse. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like I said, very confused today. All right, so the higher up on the map, the lower the interest rates. The lower on the map, the higher the interest rates. And then these red and green bars indicate daily change. Red means interest rates have gone up for the day. Green means interest rates have gone down for the day. So you can see we've had quite a big swing already this morning, 25 basis points up and down. So of course the market is reacting to those May 1st changes and kind of going, what's going on here? Do we need to implement more changes? So we're going to take a couple days to wait for that to settle back down. What that translates to from an interest rate standpoint, 6.375, 6.5, things of that nature, depending on your conventional conforming 20% down clients. So low sixes is what we can say right now, depending on your situation.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have any questions yet, but it's early and it's Monday, so yeah. Later maybe.
So I'm going to be working on my settings too.
Perfect. Does anybody else have any questions for Nikki or about this heat map that she's talking about that maybe some of you did not hear about or have not heard about yet? No?
Do you want me to just give a quick review?
Sure. Yes. Okay. Give us a quick review.
Yep. So the heat map indicated by Fannie and Freddie. So basically, traditionally in mortgage lending, if you have higher credit score, higher down payment, you have a lower interest rate. Plain and simple. Lower credit, lower down payment, higher interest rate. Everything seems pretty normal. That makes the most sense. The better credit you have, the better the interest rate. Well, right now with Fannie and Freddie, they've implemented what's called a heat map, which basically their intention behind it is to allow for clients who have lower credit scores and lower down payments to be able to get into homes with lower interest rates. So that's their original intention, is to kind of help that low income, low credit score, low down payment client be able to get into what we call affordable housing. So if you think about the difference between a 7% interest rate and a 6.5% interest rate, you're talking quite a bit of difference there when it comes to monthly payment, depending on loan amount. So the initiative is designed to help those clients have lower interest rates, which makes higher priced homes more affordable for them. Now, is there a bit of difference? Yes, there is. However, is that difference of payment enough to make a huge difference in qualifying? is yet to be seen. I mean, in reality, if you want to talk about qualifying an overall mortgage, qualifying, having somebody within $50 of their debt to income ratio or qualifying is a very intense and very risk driven proposition for someone who's out there looking for housing. Now, do we do that? Yeah, we put people within that tolerance if they need to go within that tolerance. But again, we're talking about a lot of risk and a lot of things that could go wrong. So with that being said, unfortunately, the opposite of that is happening for the higher credit score and higher down payment clients, which basically means traditionally they get the lower interest rates. Now they're actually getting higher interest rates in comparison to the lower credit score, lower interest rate individual. The break on this is right around the 680 mark at 5% down. That's going to be your like zero category where there aren't any adjustments to that interest rate or aren't any adjustments to the pricing on that interest rate. But what's happening now is people are all obviously up in arms because if you have good credit and you have down payment, why are you getting punished is what the rhetoric is versus someone who has lower credit and low down payment. So while they've implemented this, Fannie and Freddie, the outcry is enormous. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some changes happening that will help the lower credit score, lower down payment borrower, but not punish the higher credit score, higher down payment borrower. Now, when I talk about these adjustments, as a reminder, these are adjustments to pricing. So in other words, how much that interest rate costs you versus the actual interest rate itself. So I said if there was a 3/8 of an adjustment or 0.375, that's 0.3% of the loan amount in cost, not 0.3% in interest rate. So the equivalent or what this ends up happening is about an average of a quarter up or a quarter below that 680, 5% down mark. So in interest rate, that's what it translates to. So we're not talking a huge difference here, but again, if you're at the top of that qualifying range, it can definitely put you, your offer price on the home, it can make a difference on what you can offer. So what we're helping clients do, especially in that higher credit score, higher down payment, is help them with a strategy to put less money down up front. And then after the closing, re-amortize or recast that mortgage to keep the low interest rate, but have that payment without mortgage insurance. So definitely things we can do to kind of go around this. And then also specifically at North Point Bank, there are products that we have that don't have to do that at all, that don't take that into consideration at all. So we don't have to deal with those loan level price adjustments, and we can help higher credit score, higher down payment clients without punishing them for the interest rate.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of information.
But a good explanation. So thank you. Yeah, thanks, Nikki. Does anybody else have any questions? No? Okay. All right. We're going to move on to our guest of the hour, Elder Reyes with REDigital. He has been helping me. I think we first learned about you and saw the amazing things you're doing on one of Carrie's masterminds. And then we had Elder on one of our calls back a few months ago, I'd say late fall of last year. And he has been working with me on some things. And I thought it would be great to have him back on to talk about Google Business. For those of you that don't have it set up, the easy way of getting it set up, he can walk us through that. And then also what we should be doing to really optimize that profile. He's a wealth of knowledge. So I welcome Elder. Thanks for coming on and joining us today. And I did make you a co-host, so take it away. The floor is yours. You can share screen, whatever you want to do.
Okay, good. First and foremost, can you guys all hear me? Good to go?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All righty. So does everyone on the call for the most part have a Google Business page set up or have something at least on there? No? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll kind of give you like a quick just what is a Google Business page, right? And why it's so important and like why it really makes a difference as a real estate agent, because I'm assuming most folks on the call are real estate agents or brokers, correct? Okay, good, good. So that'll make it easier as well. Okay. And then I'll give you guys some really good tips like that you can do like the minute we get off the call, right? Because one of the things with these Google Business profiles is like everything Google, right? It's like the longer they're out there, the more complicated they get, right? And the more little things they want you to do now to like make it so it pops up and it gets showcased to people that are looking for your services, right? But there are some things that, to be frank with you, are pretty simple to do, especially like when you're starting your Google business profile, to make sure that it does get showcased to people that are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And the really cool thing, they're locally in your area, right? So what I'll do first and foremost, I'm just gonna, and I have control of the screen, is that correct? Can you guys, let me see. I'll share my screen here. All right. All righty. So can you guys all see my screen? We're good to go?
Yes.
All right. So I'm just going to go to Google here. So what Google business profiles are, for, I know a couple folks on the call don't have one, is so like, it's all about what people are searching on the internet, right? So like for years, the biggest search that was taking place online was something to the effect of like city state homes for sale, right? So I'm going to use, currently I'm vacationing in Temecula, California. So like right now, like one of the biggest searches that were taken online were like for homes for sale in Temecula, California. And I'm just using that because that's where I'm at, right? And so that was the #1 search, and that's where everyone wanted to be, on the first page of Google. And that's where like 95% of our traffic was going if you were looking to generate some type of lead online. The problem with that, as a like real estate agent or broker, or even like a small office, is these searches are dominated by like the power platforms, right? And what do I mean by that? Like the Realtor.coms, the Zillows, the Redfins. So getting found on the first page of Google for this search is super difficult. You got to do a lot of search engine optimization. That's just making your website, put together in a way where Google says it's an awesome website, and we're going to show it to people that are specifically looking for services in your area who are doing the search. But realistically, getting on the first page of Google for this term is super, super difficult, almost impossible, right? Unless you hire like an SEO guy and he's dedicated to constantly adding content and stuff to your website. So what's really cool about these Google business profiles is the term that we've really seen grow over the past couple of years is real estate agent near me, right? And what's really cool about this is this gives all you guys, real estate agents and brokers, the actual ability to get showcased to people they're locally in your area who are looking for your services. But the most important piece of this is that, for the most part, you're actually having the ability to outrank to Zillows and Realtor.com, right? So I always tell folks, the way you want to think of these Google business profiles, they're almost like little websites that Google has given every one of you guys, right? So that you can get showcased to people who are looking for your services. They're locally in your area, because that's what all these Google business profiles are all about. And that's kind of where we see Google moving in terms of like its technology and its ranking structure, is that it wants to start showing true professionals to people that are looking for those services in that area, right? So for example, if I'm looking for a real estate agent there locally in my area, it wants to show me realtors by the use of their Google business profile who can provide me with that service. Does that kind of make sense as to what a Google business profile is, and most importantly, just really the advantage that it gives you guys? And I think a lot of times, like when I do like consultation calls with realtors, like the question I always get is like, all right, Elder, just give it to me straight, man. Like what can I be doing online right now that's gonna work, man? I've spent thousands of dollars on marketing, like nothing's ever really worked, right? Like, what can I do? Guys, this is a legitimate opportunity for you guys, like to, you could spend a little money by running ads and stuff like that, and I'll get into that here in a minute. But just by having a properly built Google business profile, you can legitimately generate some business specifically using the internet, and it's not too difficult to do, right? So that, in a sense, is what a Google business profile is. I always tell everyone, just think about it as the little website that Google gave you guys, for your business. And also, the biggest reason why you really want to focus on these and really want to optimize these and really want to add content and videos and photos is because it really gives you guys the opportunity to outrank those power platforms and to get, excuse me, showcase to people that are looking for real estate services they're locally in your area. Any questions about that? Anybody have any questions? That I sum that up pretty good for you?
I have a question,
Please.
just out of, so I can never get Google to update my address. And I don't know what to do. I thought it had changed when I switched to EXP, but it's still at my old Keller Williams Edina office. And
Right.
I feel like I go around and around and around with Google. So is there any suggestions on that?
So there's a couple ways to do it. The fastest way is you would want to just reach out to Google. And then what I can do, there's a pretty cool little support platform out there. And they even have like an little email, and I'll put that in because I've actually had quite a few agents reach out to me about claiming their new address or even claiming their profile. And they've actually have gotten a little bit better about it. I mean, I will be honest with you, it is difficult to get somebody on the phone from Google and like sit with you and kind of go through your profile unless you're doing like ads, right? Because then if you're buying ads, they'll talk to you all day, right? But for the most part, the way you would want to do it is you would want to claim that address, and there is a way to do it. And I can actually, I mean, without taking too much time here, is you would want to go to Google support, and there actually is instructions on how to do that. And I can email that over to Christy, and she could send that over to you. And it does take a little bit of time. I will be frank with you. It's not easy, like reclaiming a profile, reclaiming the address, or updating the address, because they're so worried about people doing little hacks, right? And they're so quick to suspend these profiles that it does take a little bit of time. But just to answer your question, yeah, the best way that I've seen it go is, unfortunately, you do have to go through Google support, and it is going to take a little bit of time for that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Not
Cool.
yet.
Okay, good to go. So then, as far as like, once we decide, okay, I want to start putting a Google business profile together, there's a couple of things that really come into play as far as getting it ranked, right? Or getting it seen by people who are looking for services in your area, right? So the first place is, and this is something that anyone can do. So once you build your Google business profile, you do have the ability to run Google local service ads, right? Or GSA ads. And those are the ones that are being focused or showcased right here at the top of the profile, right? Anybody can do that. It's pretty easy to do. And I'll show you guys how to do that in a minute. But where you really want to get your profile, because where a lot of in regards to like conversion, the best traffic is going to come from are these, what they call like the local map pack, right? Because what these are profiles that Google has said have the best information or are the true professionals for that service in that area, right? And so this is what we say we want to talk about getting your profile optimized, because if you can get it here, it doesn't matter how many times people click on it. It doesn't matter like, because when you do your Google local service ads, once you actually they clicked on a certain number of times, it goes away and another realtor pops up there, because it's all dependent on budget, right? But these optimized profiles, once you get your profile optimized by Google and it says, okay, this guy or this gal or this real estate team really is a true professional, they're locally in your area, that's where you see the magic happen in terms of just tons of clicks, tons of traffic, and tons of calls, right? So as far as optimizing the profile, there's a couple of things that you guys really want to focus on when you're putting it together. And what's really cool is, and you guys may all want to jot this website down, is that so every year, let me back up. So Google does a really good job in telling you, hey, you should be doing this, or you should be doing that, or this is a good idea. But it doesn't really tell you, like, if you do this, like this will get you like optimized, or this will get you ranking. But this website here, it's actually really cool, and you guys may all want to jot it down. It's called whitespark.ca. So if you may want to jot that down, whitespark.ca. And what this is, So every year, all these like SEO guys, all these guys who just know how to get websites and Google business profiles ranked on the search engines, right, and get them found, and are just having enormous success with their clients, put together kind of like a recommendation list of what you need to do to get either your website or also your Google business profile ranked, right? And these are like true experts in the area. I think they gather it's somewhere around 50 like SEO guys who just have been in the business a while, who are Google certified developers. I mean, these are like the who's who of like all this stuff when it comes to getting ranked on the search engines, right? And what's pretty cool is they even give you like a little list of what you need to be doing on your Google business profile to get it optimized, to get it showcased, to get it seen by folks who are specifically looking for your services. And the really cool part about it, all these changes are like free, right? There's nothing like that you would have to pay for. I mean, some of them do take a little bit of time. Some of them are out of your hand a little bit, but there's some that are super simple that just a lot of realtors and brokers drop the ball when they put this Google business profile together. That it's just a really cool checklist, right? And what's really cool that I like is it not only has like this little checklist, but it also even has like what can get your profile suspended, right? Because one of the really scary things when it comes to these Google business profiles is once you got it like, ranked, you're getting all these calls, you're getting all these leads. They're actually pretty easy to get it suspended. And I'll go over some things that you definitely don't want to do with your Google business profile here in a second. But this is a really, really good list to kind of check into from time to time to just if you ever have questions about getting, your profile ranked or profile optimized, or once again, showcase to people that are looking for your services. So I'll go over some of these with you because like I said, some of these are out of your hand, but some of these are just super easy and make so much sense. But still, like I said, a lot of realtors drop the ball. So the first one, and it actually even mentions it here on the list, is going to be the category, right? So I always get that question like, Elder, I'm starting my Google business profile. Like, which category should I use? And I always tell folks it all depends on your market, right? But what's really cool is there's tools out there to help you pick the category that's the best. So you guys may want to jot down this website. It's called GMB Anywhere. GMB Anywhere. And then what it does is, I'm going to go to Google Maps. So what GMB Anywhere does is it takes all the top optimized profiles in my market. So I'm just going to say real estate agents. And it actually will show me exactly what categories they've picked, right? So if you guys are like, Elder, like what's the category I should be using for my Google business profile? Downloading this website, it's super easy, it's free. GMB Anywhere. And that's what it looks like. It's right here. That's what it'll look like to make sure you get the right one, because I know there's tons of different websites out there that want you guys clicking on something you're not supposed to. But yeah, what's really cool about this website is it takes the guessing game out of the work, right? So, and what's really cool, you can even go in there now and change your category that you're focused on. But the reason why this is so cool is it's telling you, hey, these Google business profiles are built properly, and these are the categories that they've picked, right? And so it even gives you like subcategories on top of the major ones. Typically for the real estate vertical, you're going to see like real estate agency, real estate agent, real estate consultant. Those are the top three that I typically see for the most part. But this is just a really cool tool to just help you guys just get off to the right start when you're building your Google business profile. Because like, according to this list that comes from a bunch of people who know a bunch about this stuff, the category is the #1 deciding factor on whether or not Google's going to start showing your profile that may be looking for your services. They're locally in your area, right? Which, once again, super simple, but so many people get it wrong, right? #2 on this list is pretty cool as well. It's keywords in your Google business profile, right? So a lot of mistakes real estate agents make is they try to just flutter or just throw all types of different words or phrases in their Google business profile. And that's going to do either one of two things. If you guys try to throw too many keywords or business words in your profile, it's going to get you suspended. Or if you don't do the right ones, once again, it's going to make it nearly impossible to get found, right? So once again, the keywords or phrases is a really big topic or really big kind of deciding factor when if your business profile is going to get showcased. And once again, lean on that GMB Anywhere tool, right? Because one of the things I always tell all my agents and brokers that I work with, the really cool thing about the internet and all this marketing stuff is it leaves clues, right? Like right now, if I was a real estate agent in Temecula, California, I got 3 really good profiles here, right? And I know 2 of these agents pretty well who are absolutely crushing it with these Google business profiles. So it's telling me if I was going to use keywords in my title, I should probably use something like realtors or realtor, or this one even has realty group. And it's even giving me the actual categories for which ones I should be using, right? So like your name, real estate agent, your name, realtor, your name, realty group. Those are the words or phrases that you definitely want in your Google business profile. Having said that, you definitely don't want to just have all of those in there. You definitely don't want to have like too many of them in there because Google will suspend your profile. And once it's suspended, it's super difficult to get back. Questions, anything about that? Pretty straightforward. All right. So then the next thing that really comes to play when it comes to these Google business profiles are photos, right? So I'm going to go ahead and open some of the ones that I'm working on here. And I have a bunch, so bear with me. Perfect. So once you got your category, once you got your name, the next thing that really moves the needle, so to speak, specifically for the real estate industry, are going to be the photos, right? And a couple of cool tips with the photos is you don't just want to be loading up a bunch of photos, right? On average, a good like amount of photos to load up per week to your Google business profile is about 7 to 10. Like this crazy stat came out at the beginning of the year that said if you had like 100 photos on your Google business profile, you got like 100 or 200% more engagement than the ones that didn't. So what did a lot of realtors and agents, brokers do? They went on there and they just started loading up a bunch of photos. If you go on there today and upload like 100 photos to your Google business profile, it will get it suspended, right? Which once again, if you get your Google business profile suspended, it's super difficult to get that thing back. I always tell all my realtors and brokers, loading up about 7 to 10 photos a week is a good cadence or a good just kind of amount of photos to load up every week. And also, you don't just want to load up any kind of photos. Yes, headshots, and yes, pictures of your office, and then obviously any listings or markets or territories that you guys are covering. You definitely want to put those in the photo section, but unique is the key here, right? So like unique photos always do the best, right? So one of the biggest mistake realtors and agents and brokers make when they start uploading photos is they just start going online and just picking photos from like Google Images, or they start buying photos from like iStock, and they just start buying photos that have been used on many platforms or many blogs or many websites, and that does not help you at all. But remember, like I always tell folks, when it comes to anything Google, it's all about uploading fresh content, but also unique content, right? And if you can take it even a step further, it's about unique content that is specific to your area, right? So like, for example, this guy, Steve, he's in Temecula. If I was him, I would make sure that all my photos, right, were somewhat about something to do with either him, his business, his brand, or the Temecula area, right? And I would also want to make sure any photos were specific to him and that were unique. You don't want to go out there and just start clipping photos from like other websites or just start buying photos from websites unless they guarantee it's a unique shot. And usually those are a little expensive, and to be frank with you, don't really make sense, because now with our phones, it's super easy just to like drive around the neighborhood, right, and take pictures. Like if you're in a golf course community and you're trying to market that area, or if you're selling condos, or if it is a specific development, right, like you can add those photos yourself, right? So that's something definitely to keep in mind as you guys upload photos. Any questions there about that? That's actually pretty important. That's a huge ranking factor when it comes specifically to the real estate vertical.
I do have a question about that. So when you say like unique photos, types of photos from a Google profile, I'm a little confused. Is it the same types of photos? You said maybe it's not the same types of photos you would do for social media, but like, is it like, for example, I don't know, closings or neighborhood, or what is it like? How is
Yes,
that differ from social media, I guess is the
all
question.
of those. No, so all of those photos, I mean, you could, anything to do that relates to your business, your markets, or, to your branding, right? As long as they're unique. What you don't want to do, and what I see a lot of agents do, is that they'll go out there, like I had an agent that had like 50 photos. And then when you just like did an audit, because what's pretty cool about this GMB audit tool is, if you pay a little bit of money, I mean, you can actually do an audit on your account, and it'll show you like where all the photos that you currently have on your profile, if they are out there. So what I'm saying is, as far as the photos, you don't want it to be a photo that you just copied from like another website, or that you took from somebody else's profile, or that you just went online and did a search and just started grabbing photos. You want them to be unique to you. Does that make sense?
It does. And then as far as like you said, 7 to 10 a week. So then do you delete the old ones or just kind of keep this running like stretch of photos keep going into your Google
Oh,
business?
great. That's a great question, Nick. And everybody asked that. No, no, definitely. No, leave them, right? So yeah, leave them. And the reason why it's 7 to 10 a week, Nikki, is because like one of the things like that Google is really big on is like kind of making sure that these profiles are, people are being active on them, right? And so what they don't want is like, Steve the realtor going out and taking like a million photos of Temecula and then just laying them all out there, right? Because it does, these photos really do help out. Like it's a huge ranking factor when it comes to the Google business profiles, right? Like, because you very rarely are going to see a Google business profile with 100 optimized photos on their profile. What you will see is a real estate agent who's went out there and copied like 50 photos from another website, and then they wonder why their Google business profile is not getting seen, right? So that's why I tell folks these photos are a very, very important part of your Google business profile, because like I always tell folks, if you look at like websites in general, right, you got Google, you got YouTube, and then you got Google Images, right, which is like number 3 in search engine rankings as far as traffic and what people are looking at. And that's where these photos get showcased on, right? So it's a great tool. But to answer your question, yes, 7 to 10 a week. Keep the old photos on there, because your goal is to have as many photos on there properly optimized as possible. Great
Okay.
question.
And then Grant, last question. You know how like when you take a photo and you can post it like Facebook, it'll automatically post to Instagram. Is there an app or something that'll help you automatically push those picture postings or whatever to your Google business page, or is it not the same format, or I
Yeah,
do find it?
there are little hacker tools out there that you can do that, but one of the things you want to do is you want Google to like see where the photo came from, right? So you definitely want to like go to your phone, or even like go to your computer, post it to your Google business profile. Because one of the other things that you can really do, and this will be something, if you guys you might want to jot this down, right? So this is pretty cool what you want to do. And I'll give me a second here. Where is it? This one. So jot down this website for me here. This is pretty cool, right? So geoimgr.com. geoimgr.com, right? And so what that allows you to do is actually geotag all of your photos, right? And so why is that so important? Because keep in mind, when it comes to like these Google business profiles, it's all about the local search, right? Like it's all Google, the way I had a really good question asked to me on one of the calls I did last week, and one of these realtors said, Elder, like, where do you see like all of this going? Like, where do you see like the internet going, right? And it's all going towards like more of a local search, right? Like we've seen Google do a huge update to its algorithm last year. It was called the helpful content update, the quick read update, and then we see across social media, we have all these location apps. TikTok has one. Twitter has one, Meta has one, LinkedIn has one. And then now we see with like YouTube and even these Google business profiles, it's all about the local search, right? So another thing that you want to do with your photos is geotag them, because once again, if I was Steve and I went out there and took 10 pictures of like an area that I'm trying to farmer market, or maybe a golf course that I'm really looking to break into as far as helping people buy or sell properties in that area. And I took all those photos and now I start geotagging them, right? Once again, it's telling Google, hey, I'm the guy in this area. I'm the realtor in this area. Like I know this market, right? So that's why these photos are so powerful, is because if they're properly, no one is properly optimizing 100 photos on their Google business profile now, unless they're one of the big brokerage houses right now. Those numbers, the stat that came out like 2 weeks ago is less than 3% of Google business profiles for the real estate vertical are properly optimized. Less than 3%, right? So just think about what that means if I'm a real estate agent right now, right? Like Google gave you guys this website, right? Billions of people go to Google every single day, and less than 3% of you guys right now have a properly built or a properly optimized Google business profile, right? So the opportunity there is just insane to generate some business right now, because like what I think is going to end up happening is I think they're going to like what Google eventually does. It gives you stuff for free. Once you guys see how awesome it is, once you guys see how, it could generate you business, it's going to start charging you for it, right? But right now, by just having the proper category, having the photos on there, optimizing them, geotagging them, picking the right category, and then a couple of things I'll show you right now, you guys can really get seen by folks who are looking for your services, and it's free, right? Like there's no charge for that. Just kind of tinkering around with it and adding some content. Make sense? Cool. Okay, so I'll continue on. I know I'm probably running out of time here. A couple of really cool areas as well, and this one, probably makes a lot of sense to you folks, is the reviews, right? So reviews are a really big factor in regards to also getting your profile ranked or showcased to people in your area. They're not as big as we initially thought, right? Matter of fact, on that White Spark website, the guy even talks about, because he does a lot of webinars and stuff, how like once you're at like 10 reviews and they're all 5.0 or 5-star reviews, like you haven't capped out on reviews, or you haven't tapped out on reviews, but like if you have like a billion reviews, does it help you? Yeah, but the number you really want to get to is 10 5-star reviews, right? Once you get there, you've kind of almost checked the box that Google is looking for. Yes, the more reviews, the better, but once you're at 10 5-star reviews, that's pretty good. But a really big tip when it comes to your reviews is don't just have like your clients leave that vanilla review, right? Like Elder was awesome. Yeah, he's great. Elder's, the best guy ever. No. So one of the things that Google does do is it does crawl these reviews, right? So what I tell all my agents and brokers, see if you can coach them up a little bit on what to say, right? So for example, if you can get them to drop in buzzwords or keywords like, Elder is an amazing real estate agent. He helped me find my dream home in Temecula, California. Those type of words or phrases make a huge difference whether or not your profile will get ranked, because remember, the reviews are part of that content to your Google business profile. So by having your clients throw in those buzzwords, throw in those keywords, it's just it definitely is a difference maker when it comes to seeing your profile showcase the folks that are looking for your services. They're locally in your area. A lot of my agents and brokers that I work with, I coach them up on like, when you go and ask for these reviews, send them like a sample review, because what you'll see a lot of them will do, they'll kind of just cut and paste it and drop it in there, right? Because kind of just like hey, Mr. Smith, I'm trying to really build my presence on the internet. I would really appreciate a review. I know these reviews are sometimes a pain in the butt to come up with, but here's some examples of what some of my other, clients left me, right? And what you'll see a lot of them will do, they'll just grab that little blurb that you sent them and they'll just change it up a little bit and then they'll drop it in there, right? So yeah, if you can somehow get them to throw in some buzzwords, to throw in some keywords, it definitely helps out your profile here. Questions about reviews? That's a pretty big one.
Not a question, but a little, maybe something that we could use for sending those examples. We could use Chat GPT to write us, right? A
Yep,
review using certain keywords and
absolutely.
then use that as an example to send to our clients.
Yep. Right. Go there and say, hey, write me a good review for my real estate services. And then it writes you one out and send it off. Right. Boom. Absolutely. Yep. There you go. Yeah. So the reviews are good. And I know and I get it. Sometimes asking for these is a little bit uncomfortable. I've had even a lot of my realtors who have said, man, I don't want to like be asking for. I'm like, well, just do an email blast and just send them like that. Right. I mean, so if you ask for the reviews, you just give them a little example. Like I said, most of the time, they're probably going to just copy it and paste it and drop it in there. Now you got your review. Now you got your keywords. You've added some content. You're kind of doing a lot with that review. So that's pretty cool. A couple of other areas that I really wanted to focus on because these are pretty cool now that I've seen is now you have the products tab, which has kind of always been there where you can add like, obviously your listings and stuff like that. But where I'm having a lot of success with some of my agents, it's something that you got because when these Google business profiles first came out, a lot of my agents would be like, well, Elder, I don't have any listings right now, man. Like, what am I going to throw up there? Right. So what I'm having a lot of my agents do, I know a lot of them blog or a lot of them do like, some type of market update or something to that degree, right? This is a great place to throw it up there, or you can put it up in a little section that's going to say updates. And what's really cool is you can actually, because of Canva, we've all become like graphic design majors, right? We can all come up with these pretty cool little thumbnails, right? So you can come up with a really cool little thumbnail on Canva. If you guys are not familiar with Canva, Google it, super easy. And then what's pretty cool, you can do a little Canva thumbnail right here in the products. It allows you to throw in that. And now, so what I did for Steve, I was helping him out with some stuff. He doesn't have any listings right now, but we did a little blog post. And what's really cool here is, so if somebody was to land on Steve's Google business profile, they would have scrolled down and look at the products and they wanted to actually see homes for sale in Temecula. It drives them directly to a blog post on his website that specifically showcases that, right? So if I was a real estate agent or broker and I had a Google business profile, right, what I would probably do is probably go to my website, create pages like, city state homes for sale, or how much is my home worth in city state, or looking to find a property in city state with the pool, create all those little searches. And now you can actually create landing pages or product pages right there on your Google business profile, right? So as someone scrolls your page, now from a user experience, it's awesome because I can see properties for sale in my market. And then from like as far as getting your profile ranked is great, right? Because you've done a couple of things. You've added a product to the Google business profile. That product is constantly getting updated with fresh content, right? Because of the IDX solution, right? So it's constantly being upgraded. It's constantly being like the most important part of information on any real estate platform is properties, right? So now you got the most important piece of information on the Google business profile. It's constantly being updated. It's another way to get your profile showcased and in front of people that are specifically looking for your services. Questions on that?
A lot of info.
Cool. Well, like I said, these things can get pretty like deep and stuff. I just wanted to give you guys some basic infos, like some key takeaways, like what I would do if I was you guys and you're really new to this. Definitely get the category correct, download GMB Anywhere. It's super easy. Make sure you guys are uploading 7 to 10 unique photos a day. Ask for reviews, right? Also showcase that when you build the profile, or if you haven't done it, always showcase your address. It does help with ranking. It does help with like getting found by people that are locally in your area. add stuff to the products tab. Obviously listings and, you know, neighborhood pictures and stuff like that do well. But at the end of the day, if you don't have that, you can add, you know, blog posts or content from your website. And the last tip I'll give you is if you guys can do some type of intro video, those are just doing really, really well, right? Like Google allows for a 30-second intro video or 30-second blocks of videos on your Google business profile. So I always tell folks, if it was me, I would have an intro video just talking about me and my services and specifically the market. And then anytime you get a listing, if you guys do a listing video, it'd be a great time to drop it in the product tab, because when you add products, it allows you, it's pretty simple. Once you do you can put the photo, the product name, category, then you even put the URL of the video in there. Super easy to do. So videos, adding those 30-second videos to your Google business profile, once again, gives you guys a really big leg up on the competition. And the last thing I'll kind of just leave with you guys is, like, these Google business profiles, I cannot overstate like what an opportunity it is for you guys right now as like an agent or like in a team, or even like if you're like in a small brokerage, because for a long time, unless you were willing to pay a boatload of money, it was impossible to outrank Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com. Like, I was at Zillow for 7 years. We used to laugh at how much space we owned on the internet, right? So I'm telling you, like, now you guys have a legitimate opportunity to outrank those power platforms for a big growing term online, which is real estate agent near me, looking for an agent near me. Like, those words, those phrases, those searches are getting a lot of traffic, right? And you're not having to compete with those power platforms anywhere, guys. Like, this gives you guys a legitimate opportunity to do that. And it's free right now. And like I tell everyone, just being in this industry for 20 years and all the companies I've been at, like, it's not going to be free for long. They're going to start, I can already see it, right? They're charging you guys for ads. I think they're going to start charging you guys for like little modifications. I think it's only a matter of time before you have to start paying for these things, because that's how the internet works. So jump on these things, start adding content, start adding pictures, and just, I'm telling you, it's a really good opportunity. And I think you guys will have maybe another year and a half to really jump on this before you guys got to start paying for it. Yeah.
So thank you. This is like such good info. So a couple of things. So basically, if I'm reading my notes correctly, searching and looking at top profiles that are ranking high right now, right? Look at what they're doing, right? Kind of incorporate some of those same keywords and whatnot into your profile, because we already know what's working, right? Copy
Yeah.
our profile verbatim, but right, you said success leaves clues. These people are ranking high. Let's do what they're doing, right?
Yep. 100%. Yeah.
And then my other question real quick is, as far as geotagging goes, is that, can I have my VA do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though he's not here locally?
Yeah, because what it'll do is, you'll want to put the picture in there. And once you do, when it gives you the little coordinates, that's pretty much all you're really wanting, because that's what Google is looking for. But yeah, you can have them do that for you. Yep.
But then he needs to know where those pictures came from.
Yeah, because it's going to ask, it's going to ask you for an address. So with the geo, I'm glad you brought that up too. They're going to try to get you to pay for it. You guys don't need to pay. Everything that I'm showing you guys is free, right? If you go to any window and they're asking you for a credit card, I always tell folks, you went too far, back up, right? So like, just like with that geotag thing, like, yeah. So a lot of them ask you to put the address in there, or like a description of the photo. All you want is those coordinates. It'll tag the photo, but yes, your VA can totally do it 100%. Yep.
Okay. That is helpful.
Yeah, and yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Steven, how are you?
I am good, sir. So yeah, would it matter if their pictures, would it boost their profile if they watermark their pictures?
It does help out. Yeah, it does help out. So if
For
you have the
copyright,
ability,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yep. That does help out
Okay,
big time. Yep.
awesome. Thank you.
Great questions. Look at Steven coming in. Great question.
With the watermark, should that just be like a logo or should website, or can you give suggestions as to what that?
I always say the website, guys, because at the end of the day, the website, it's still, you know, it's funny you mentioned that. Like I was on a call early this morning, and on a conference call, one of the realtors goes, "Does my website even matter?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it still does, right?" Like it all still starts and ends. Like when it comes to this whole thing online, right? When we're talking your real estate online presence, it does begin and end with the website, right? It's the biggest platform. It should have the most links on it. It should be the most optimized. So everything that we're doing, right, whether it's these and you can kind of even see kind of like the strategy even with these, right? Like Google wants your website on there. You can add products or tabs from your website. You can add links from your website. So yes, definitely anything where you can drive people back to your site is huge, right? Because one of the things I always tell my realtors and brokers, like your goals, like on all these other platforms, right? Like on whether it's social media or YouTube or even these Google business profiles, is to get them off of this and onto your website, because once they're there, if it's built properly, you guys are the only point of contact, right? Because they can see all homes for sale, they can find out what their home is worth, they can get information on how awesome you guys are, right? So your whole goal, anytime you can incorporate some type of traffic driver to your website, 100%, Chrissy. Yeah, that's what you want to do. Yep.
Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Does anybody else have any questions for Elder? All the links, websites he mentioned are in the chat. So if you can grab them when he mentioned them, grab them from the chat. Any other question? I mean, I could keep you here all day, but we're at 11:30 and I want to respect people's busy schedules. So,
Of course.
I have a quick question if possible. So Elder, what type of services are you providing and maybe what the cost is for that?
Yeah, so my company, REDigital, we're a full service real estate website and digital marketing agency. So what we specifically do is we help real estate agents and brokers with their websites, with their social media, optimization and marketing of those platforms, their Google business profile and their YouTube channel. And so pretty much everything that you need online to be successful, we can help you out with. The only thing we can't do, unfortunately, is shoot your videos for you, because obviously you got to do those yourself, right? But we help you optimize them, optimize your channel, all that good stuff. And then as far as like price points, there's a couple of different packages that we come in that we offer. It all just depends on like how aggressive you want to be with the search engine optimization and like how much help you need. But typically, most folks come in at either what I call a tier 1 or tier 2 package, where to set everything up, it's $4.99 to set everything up. And then as far as a monthly investment, there's a couple of options from $1.99 all the way up to $9.99. It just depends on what you're looking for and how many people are on your team and if you're a broker or brokerage and all that stuff. Yeah, but yeah, we pretty much handle everything for you. Yep.
Thank you.
Good stuff. All right. Well, does anybody else have any questions? Everybody's really quiet today, aren't they?
It's Monday.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday.
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh,
Go for it.
Well, I noticed that right away you were talking about the localization of these pages.
Yep.
And well, if you're working in a metro area that has a lot of different suburbs that you work in, so do you just need to pick one or two, or?
That's a great question, Brian, man. And I'll be frank with you, that's usually one of the toughest conversations I have. Like if I'm working, so for example, like this morning, I'm working with a guy in Seattle and we're kind of always going back and forth because he's like in Seattle and he does like all these little zip codes and, condo markets and stuff like that. So initially, we try to focus on 3 to 5, right? Like whenever I start working with somebody who's like in a very, very competitive area, or like you mentioned a metro area, we pick 3 to 5 markets and we really try to get you ranked and found on those, because one of the really cool things about these Google business profiles is Google will recognize these properly optimized pages. And if you can start generating traffic, start generating clicks to Google, they're saying, okay, this guy is doing something right because people are going to this profile. He's a true expert in these markets. And then it almost, I don't want to use the word allow, but then at that time is when it makes sense to start adding more markets. But to answer your question, in a metro area, I typically recommend no more than 3 to 5 markets, closer to 3. And the reason is because it's going to be super competitive in those markets, right? So like where are you at? Give me, if you don't mind. I mean, I can.
Well, I'm in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota right now. But I mean, I go to Champlin, that's like 6 blocks this way, and you know what I mean? Maple Grove is about a mile that way.
Right. No,
You know
yeah,
what I
no.
mean? So it's like, oh geez, you know.
Which was yeah. So like in your area, you may be wanting to venture out on more than that 3 to 5 number. But the one thing I will tell you is there is a happy medium, and that's part of the optimization, kind of playing with it and tinkering with it, is because yeah, I know towns and cities, and like I know in some areas counties, right? There's like one lady, I do 5 counties, they're like only like 100 people each, and I'm like, okay, well, so it's just like, and I totally get it, but want to kind of drum it down to as much as possible initially, because the goal is to get you ranked right away, right? Because one of the things that really does kill your Google business profile is if you have it out there forever and no one's clicking on it, right? It's just like a website. Like I always tell my realtors with their website, like get people to your website like now, right? Same thing with these things, right? So I always tell folks, if you're in one of those areas where towns are kind of overlapping and stuff like that, I get it. You want to tackle all these towns, but let's just pick a couple right now and get you ranked on those, right? Let's get you some traffic. Let's get you some clicks, because that way we can get some of that momentum, some of that traffic, and then we can start venturing out. But if I don't get you clicked, if I don't get you traffic or ranked on any of them to begin with, then who cares? And it's funny you mentioned that, because so like Steve here in Temecula, there's like Temecula, Marietta, Winch, like he wanted like 10. And I'm like, bro, this is not gonna happen. Like it's just not gonna happen, right? But we've been able, like in a couple of months, to get him some really good leads from Temecula, which is a high-end price point for him. Even though he wanted, I think he wanted 7 to begin with, he just, his exact words were, all right, man, I'm gonna trust you. Like, and it's worked out really well for this guy, right? Because we just focused on a couple of them. Now at the 90-day mark, our plan is to work out and add a couple of more, maybe even a golf course community. But initially, when you start this profile, Brian, just keep it hyper local, man. I know it's frustrating because you're like, man, but I do these other areas, but let's just get you ranked on one area. Just start with one area, get one call, one lead, one transaction from that one area, then start to venture out, man. That should be your plan with these things.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
That makes sense. Cool, man. Yeah. But I definitely get your point too, Brian, because that's the conversation I have all the time when we go over the Google business profiles. So great question. Yeah.
Good info.
Good.
Good question. All right. Well, I think at this point, we should probably call our meeting for the day. Elder, you know, you'll probably hear from me a dozen times.
Sounds good.
But thanks for answering all my questions when I was trying to get my YouTube stuff done last week.
Of course.
Right? We're slowly but surely we're getting there. So anyway, thank you so much. Appreciate you. And to everybody, your little motivational tip for the week. Just remember that everybody that you come in contact with, you are helping them, right? You are here, you are a great service to them, and you are worthy of amazing things. And I believe that this week is going to be amazing for all of you. So thanks for jumping on. Take something from what you learned today and incorporate it, and you know, start just digging in a little bit at a time, and just start building that profile, right? There's simple things you can do to just start making some changes. So I encourage you all to do that, and look forward to seeing you guys, some of you on Wednesday and the rest of you hopefully again next week. So take care. Have a good one.